candy? Want candy now?
What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi back again. We are just going to examine the Summer Relic Draw Festival Phase 4. Now, I know this has been active for probably about 2 days now, so I am a little behind, but my whole weekend has been a little slow. This is actually one of the better banners of the 5 for me. It's back to having some new stuff on it compared to the last banner, which was just a lightning-themed rehash of older relics. Now, this one has some very interesting and good new stuff on it, as well as a lot of repeats also. So starting first here, we do have the Apocalypse Sword for Terra. It is a 120 attack, 165 magic, and synergy only boost to fire damage. Unfortunately, that will not help you out outside of Final Fantasy VI. You do have the Ultra Soulbreak Omen, 10 magic, fire, non-elemental attacks to one target, temporarily infuse the user with the power of fire, and enter Magitech EX mode. Magitech EX mode reduces the delay of the user's actions and increases the user's magic a moderate amount. This is not one of the best EX modes, but it's still very good. If you have a lot of relics for Terra, specifically her LMR for fire double casting, and maybe her BSB for Chaos Fyra, and this as well, then you will be able to pump out a lot of damage with the chance of getting those double casts in. Now in the future, they will be buffing Chain Fyraga to 4 hits instead of 2. So imagine being in this EX mode with the boosts, as well as her fire-based LMR, proccing twice on Chain Fyraga, getting you 8 hits at reduced cast time. She's going to be able to do a lot of damage. Nice sword right here, and it appears you have about a 0.66% chance to draw it. Something I would definitely want on this banner. Now we have the Lightbringer Sword for Paladin Cecil. This is a pretty powerful tanking item here. You do have 171 attack and no other stats. You do have the small boost to holy damage, always in effect. It seems like holy gets a lot of love on bonus effects for not being synergy dependent, where a lot of other elements don't seem to have that same amount of luck there. Ultra Soulbreak Sacred Cross. 10 physical holy non-elemental attacks to one target, temporarily infuse the user with the power of Holy Light, and enter Paladin EX mode, which automatically gives you damage stock up to 6,000 HP in total, pretty much almost doubling his health, not quite, but very close, and you get a large increase to defense. So basically it allows him to up his tanking game quite significantly, and it is a pretty good holy-based USB. Now, out of all the USBs in the game that have this EX mode, I can't say that this is one that I'm really excited to get, but I do like Paladin Cecil. As you can see here, I am Paladin Cecil right now. So really, I wouldn't mind having this. It would be great if I could do a pull and secure this and his BSB. I do already have his OSB, but because that's all I have, he's kind of underused for me here. And for the Lightbringer, you are looking at about a 1.43% chance to pull that guy right there. So it could definitely be a very useful tanking item to up your offensive and defensive game quite a bit if you're using Paladin Cecil. Next up, we have the Genji Gloves for Gilgamesh here. Bracers, 44 attack, 24 magic, 122 defense, 119 resistance. Those are pretty dang high for bracers right there. And remember, pretty much everyone can wear them, so pretty good stats on these for sure. 25 mind as well. No bonus effects. I guess it trades some decent stats and all-around usability for no bonus effects there. And the Ultra Soulbreak All's Fair. 10 physical attacks to one target. Temporarily raise the user's critical hit chance a large amount. And enter Legendary Swordsman EX mode. Legendary Swordsman EX mode grants the user a major retaliate and increases the user's attack a moderate amount. So it does have some pretty good stat buffs for his offensive abilities, but unfortunately it is physical only. The 10 attack seems pretty consistent across all of these offensive USBs here. And the major retaliate, I haven't really seen the mechanics of that in action, but I would assume it's just a amped up version of retaliate, so maybe you deal extra damage. It would be cool if you attack twice instead of once with this crit and attack buff on here, but probably just a stronger retaliate. That's what I'm seeing. I do have his BSB, so I could make good use of this, but I would really rather Terra or Paladin Cecil In terms of USBs, those would be my 1 and 2, and then this one would be 3. I already have Ram's USB, so don't really need that one. You do have about a 1.54% chance to draw it. Does require some strategy when using this item, but it is not bad at all. And the stats on it, again, are very, very good. So as a stat stick, it will be quite helpful. We're at the end of all the new items now. So we do have Sasuke's Blade. This is a returning USB for Ramza here. Katana 170 attack, no bonus effects. And you have the Ultra Soul Break History's Truth. Temporarily raise the attack and magic of all allies a moderate amount, and defense a small amount. Remove the delay from their actions for 1 turn. This is actually a pretty incredible USB because this defense a small amount being added onto the buffs means that this buff will stack with pretty much every other buff in the game. You can combo this with Lena's USB, which is very similar. Onion buff, Shout, Sheep Song, Deployment Tactics, every buff in the game that I can think of this will stack with. And the instant cast 1 can really save you when you are in a tight spot. It'll help you throw out a roaming warrior instantly, or Thunder God Sid will get an instant cast on his OSB, which will start him going off. So again, this is a very good USB. If you're using Ramza, you'll definitely want that to complement his arsenal there. And it seems like 0.77% chance to pull that one there. Next up, we do have Paladin Cecil's BSB. I would like this, but it is quite a dated BSB at this point. It's still pretty good, but just not really any outstanding DPS qualities unless you're in a holy-based situation here. Excalibur Sword, 125 attack, small boost to holy damage at all times, but you're probably going to want to just master this and then set it aside and put one of his more powerful swords on him if you hopefully have one of those. You have the Paladin Force BSB, 5 range physical holy attacks to all targets, haste burst mode to the user, and infusion with the power of holy light. His USB gives him the holy light infusion, but there is still a lot of times when you're going to be casting this. The burst abilities, Blessed Weapon, deal physical holy damage to 1 enemy and restore a moderate amount of HP to the user, and 2 physical holy attacks to all enemies. These are rather basic commands here. The heal is pretty useful, but unfortunately 1 attack, 2 attacks is not going to see Paladin Cecil doing a whole lot of damage. So you're thinking your strategy here is probably going to be the USB to get his tanking qualities up, and then kind of going from there. He's much more of a utility character than he is an outright damage dealer. But if you have his USB, his OSB, and this BSB, you can definitely make some good things happen with Paladin Cecil here. Your percent chance to draw this BSB seems to be about 0.66%. I would like it just to round him out and have his BSB there, but honestly I would rather have this one right here. We do have the Orichalcum Dirk. It is Vaughn's BSB here, 118 attack dagger, no bonus effects. Arc Blast. This is a very good BSB. Even though it's old, it is still ultra functional. It's got amazing stacking breakdown qualities, and the burst commands operate at a reduced cast time, allowing him to generate lots of soul break gauge and act very quickly. So you have 5 ranged instant physical attacks to 1 target, temporarily lower its magic and defense a large amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. Addle, physical damage to 1 target and temporarily lower its magic a large amount, has a reduced delay before attack triggers. And Expose, deal physical damage to 1 target and temporarily lower its defense a small amount, has a reduced delay before the attack triggers. So this will not do anything for attack, but you do have the magic and defense, and the command stack with the entry effect, which will also stack with his SSB, which is attack and defense lower, and then it'll stack with his USB as well. So really good commands. They operate very quickly. Worst part about them is probably that they are not thief type, so they won't stack with his LMR unfortunately, and also they're just 1 attack. But you still can pump them out very quickly, and you can do really good support DPS with Vaughn here. He's a very good character, and a lot of top tier players, you'll see them bringing Vaughn along to be probably one of the best offensive breakdown characters in the game. So with that being said, you do have about a 0.77% chance to draw the BSB Arc Blast here, and I would honestly really appreciate it if I could get it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Next up we have Alpha Nose BSB, the Veil of Wu. It is a book, 55 attack, 128 magic, 105 mind, and minor silence resistance. which is quite useful when you need silence resistance on Alfie. This will come in really handy. Got the Burst Soul Break Aerial Blast, 8 Summon Magic, Wind, and non-elemental attacks to one target. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of Wind and Haste Burst mode to the user. This is a very good BSB right here, and especially so because everything triggers as summoning. That'll give you some unique options where enemies won't necessarily counter this if you're using it on them. Your burst commands here: Windblade, 4 Summon Magic Wind, non-elemental attacks to one target. Remove the delay from the user's next action. Very good for pumping out DPS here. With this delay reduction, you'll be operating very quickly, and the 4 Summon Magic Wind and non-elemental attacks are capable of doing a nice chunk of damage right there. Etherflow, 2 Summon Magic Wind non-elemental attacks to one target, and restore 1 ability used to the user's ability with the fewest remaining uses. So basically it's like Kane's BSB. You can roll with like Tiamat or any summons like Valak Armanda or Neo Bahamut, anything like that, Meltdown, and you'll be able to bring those low hone abilities into battle and maintain use of them. So this is a very, very powerful BSB. Along with deployment tactics, it makes Alfie a very, very good character, and this fits into a win team super nice. I do have it, so it would be a dupe for me, but 1.32% chance on Alfie's BSB there. Along with Fujins, they're 2 wind BSBs that you definitely want for building a strong magic or wind-based team. They're both top-notch BSBs. So with that being said, Fujin's Shin Chakram here, BSB. This one has a lot of good breakdown qualities to it as well. A little bit less outright damage, but very good for utility as well. Thrown weapon, 81 attack, 129 magic, and no other stats. You do get the consistent small boost to wind damage, which is quite nice. Burst Soul Break Metsu, 5 instant magic wind and non-elemental attacks to all targets. Temporarily lower their magic and resistance a large amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. So lowering magic and resistance, this will stat great with Vaughn, for example, and you'll have some really powerful utility in this BSB here. Your first command, Shitsu, 4 magic wind non-elemental attacks to one target. Again, reduce delay before hitting, so you don't get the instant cast next turn kind of like Alfie does. But with that being said, you do have reasonably good options for DPS with this because it'll pop out pretty quickly. Next up we have Hakai, deal magic wind and non-elemental damage to one target. Temporarily lower its resistance a moderate amount, reduce delay before hitting. So Fujin obviously here is shaping up to be a great character when you're bringing with a mage team and to a magic based dungeon. The resistance debuffs on this are going to be great for your magic characters, and as well if the enemy's using magic you'll be able to knock that down a little bit as well with some good DPS qualities. She is really a great wind based mage to throw on your wind and magic teams here, and you have about a 0.66% chance of pulling this one. Honestly, I would really like this to kind of round out a win-based team, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be getting it this go-around either. Next up we have Zell's BSB here. Even though it's kind of dated, this is another one that's got a lot of viability to it still. 131 attack and no other stats. It is a glove here, so fist weapon, and you have the small boost to fire damage always in effect. Burst Soul Break Duelist. This one's really good because it's instant. You get the 10 instant physical attacks to random targets with a moderate chance to interrupt their pending actions. Raise the critical hit chance of all allies a large amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. So you do have a nice unselfish buff to the whole team there. This will stack great with something like Zack's Chain Soul Break that's coming out here in a couple days. You do have the burst abilities, Headlong Rush, 4 physical attacks to one target, temporarily lower the user's defense and raise the user's attack a moderate amount. So you have your bargain on command 1. It is IDing, it's just a combat ability, so unfortunately physical only. The small boost to fire damage won't play in too much on these commands here. In your second command, Lightning Reflexes, 4 physical attacks to one target, and remove the delay from the user's next action. So you'll want to lead with Burst Command 1 and then just continue to spam Lightning Reflexes over and over again. Zell, like I said, with the instant and the interrupt, can definitely be a very useful character to bring. He is capable of doing a pretty reasonable amount of damage, and unfortunately I don't have anything for him, Another item I really wouldn't mind drawing here. 0.66% chance it seems on that BSB as well there. Next up we have a great healing BSB for Realm here. Magical Brush, 55 attack, 100 magic, and 131 mind. No bonus effects. Star Prism, 3 white magic, holy, and non-elemental attacks to all targets. Restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies and grant them last stand, and user gets haste and burst mode. Normally I'm not a super large fan of the hybrid damage and healing BSB entries, but this one's really good because it also throws the whole team last stand on there. I wouldn't really go into this expecting a whole lot of damage from it, but you do get the moderate heal and last stand. Combine that with a pretty good instant heal on Burst Command 1 here, and your typical Medica Burst Command 2 here, makes Realm a very potent healer, especially when you combine that with her LMR, which can randomly grant magic blinks every time she heals someone with white magic, and also her USB, which is another great instant USB. So Realm, being definitely the best healer from Final Fantasy VI, is actually a very viable healer for a potential A team with her USB. So always keep little girl in mind here. This is Shadow's daughter, so we have a lot of love for Realm because Shadow is total badass as well. So I personally would love this BSB. I don't have anything else for Realm other than a unique and an SSB, so it would definitely help me out for my Final Fantasy VI Sid missions to get this. And looks like you have about a 0.66% chance on this BSB as well here. So Super Soul Break Chant for Ramza, an item that I actually do not have for him, and I could make good use of this. 26 attack, 18 magic, 95, 91 defense and resistance, and 19 mind. And they are bracers, so pretty much accessible to everybody. You don't have any bonus effects, and your Super Soul Break Chant raise the critical hit damage of all allies and grant them a barrier that negates attack damage up to 30%. This will also stack pretty good with Noctis. It'll refresh his Arminger mode if you have that active. It'll just help him keep his bubble up for longer. So stacks great for any physical combat team, and especially will shine if you do have Noctis on the team here. So something that I would like. I do have a lot of stuff for Ramza already, but this and his BSB are all I'm currently missing. In the future, Ramza as well is getting an amazing BSB2 that will basically be replacing Shout, similarly to how Celis's new BSB2 kind of replaced her Indomitable Blade. You'll be having Ramza's BSB2 that comes in with the Shout effect, also deals some damage if I'm not mistaken, and then the first command does a good bit of damage but no soul break gain, and the second burst command is going to be a built-in Wrath. So that'll free up an ability slot on him if you can get that BSB2 for him, and like I said, you pretty much won't need to use Shout anymore. So that is in the future. It will be great. Ramza is definitely a functional character. Seems like you have about a 2.31% chance to pull that Genji Gloves, not to be confused with Gilgamesh's USB. And we have Super Soul Break for Alfie here. I do have this one, the Evoker's Doublet. This is a robe here, 90 defense, 17 magic, 137 resistance, 17 mind. No small boost to wind damage, unfortunately, but the Super Soul Break is quite useful. Deployment tactics, it is basically Onion Knight buff, but instead of having Hastega, it gives you Radiant Shield as well, so you get that damage reflect on your whole team. You will not need to bring Onion buff if you are planning to bring deployment tactics for your fight, but just remember you'll need to get that Hastega effect from somewhere else. Now this is known to be a very useful Super Soul Break for tackling really tough boss fights, as it will redirect the boss's damage back towards them and help you chip down a lot of his life. So this is definitely super functional, but I usually see people using this as a roaming warrior more often than not, only because his BSB is extremely functional as well. So it wouldn't hurt to honestly bring Onion Knight as well as Alfie. You can get this buff from Onion Knight potentially, and then use Alfie's BSB. Really, it's just that Radiant Shield. So if you're playing a strategy that can make good use of that, then yeah, you won't need Onion Knight at all, and this will be very, very useful here. It seems like you have about a 1.32% chance to pull that SSB there. Now, I already did my draws on this, so let me see if I can bring them up. And now when I say draws, I did a 100 gem and a 3 draw. With Final Fantasy VII up and coming, I definitely want to hit that as hard as I can and hopefully get Sephiroth's BSB2, the USB for Cloud, and the Chain Soul Break for Zack. The odds of that happening are pretty low, so unfortunately I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but you never know. But I couldn't devote a whole lot of resources to this just because of that. So let's go ahead and see if I can't get those videos in here, and I will be right back. So I just overlaid that real sloppily there. But this was my 100 gem draw here. It was only a 4-star item, so we are continuing the trend. So I wasn't happy with my 100 gem draw at all, so I decided to make just a 3 pull on this as well, hoping for some good luck, and I actually got pretty dang lucky. So let's check that out as well here. So I made this 3 pull, and wow, I was not expecting this right here. I got a 6-star and a 5-star. Unfortunately, the 5-star was a dupe for me, so there was a lot of VSBs that I wanted, but I did come out with Terra's USB. Now, I don't have anything else for poor Terra, but this sword right now is currently seeing good use on Sid Rain's, Onion Knight, and as well Desh. So I did come out with that. Now, this pull is really making me want to draw on the Final Fantasy VI Banner 2 for her LMR again and start using her, but I haven't quite decided yet. I know that banner is going away really soon, so time is probably going to make the decision for me. But this is what I did come out with on this draw. I was actually quite lucky to pull a 2 out of 3 with a 6-star on a 3 pull. I was super stoked with this. The sword is going to see use regardless of whether or not it's on Terra, and I'm going to try and start leveling her up really soon. Terra is a very powerful character. I'm going to be really happy when I can get her Metamorphosis Legend Materia. So with that being said, great sword, great USB. I hope you guys did have really good luck on this banner as well. Definitely want to hear comments on your pulls down below or what you're saving for. And in the meantime, I hope Summerfest has been going great for you guys. Leave a like on the video if you do enjoy the content, and sub to the channel if you are new. Definitely like to see more familiar faces and people coming back around. So until next time, you guys, I do hope you're having really good luck and enjoying all this content they're putting out for us for Summerfest here. And this is Nazdarachi. I will catch you later on, probably later tonight or tomorrow if any new content drops. I know we're expecting the Final Fantasy VII event here on the 4th, so you will definitely be seeing me for that. And have a good one, y'all. Peace out.